All right, thanks, guys. Memphis takes on Penn State, 12 o'clock Eastern kickoff at AT&T Stadium. That is the Cotton Bowl. Now, Penn State is -7, totals at 60. We're seeing pretty good two-way action with regard to the spread. Not a whole lot of movement there, although we did see a 1-point move upward on the total. Penn State is -7, total open 59, up to 60. 59% of the consensus are leaning toward the Nittany Lions. 62% are shaded toward the over. And right now, Memphis is plus 225 on the money line. Now, Memphis has failed to cover the point spread in their last two straight. They're also just 3-5 against the spread in their last 8. They failed to cover against the likes of Tulsa and Temple this year. They also rank 79th in rush yards allowed. Now, Penn State on the other side, 10-2 straight up on the year. Of course, those two marquee losses came against the likes of Ohio State and a very good Minnesota team on the road. Penn State is 4-1 against the spread when traveling this year. They rank in the top 25 in scoring. Journey Brown is averaging 6.1 yards per carry from the backfield, 10 touchdowns on the ground for the year. And KJ Hamler, 858 yards receiving, 8 touchdown receptions for him. Penn State ranks in the top 10 in points allowed, top 10 in yards allowed per play. I love this guy. Micah Parsons, 95 tackles on the year, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He's an absolute man-child. One of my favorite players in college football, Micah Parsons. Also, Yader Gross-Matos, 8.5 sacks, 39 tackles for him. This Penn State squad ranks in the top 5 in rush yards allowed. Now, we're looking at a Penn State team who went 3-3 to the over in their last 6. Memphis 5-2 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean Penn State -7 and the over 60 in that contest. Next game, Notre Dame taking on Iowa State, 12 o'clock Eastern kickoff in that game, and that is the Camping World Bowl at Camping World Stadium. Notre Dame, they are the 3.5-point favorite, total at 53 and a hook. We actually did see a 1-point fade of Notre Dame and movement downward on the total. The Fighting Irish open 4.5 down to -3.5, total open 56 down to 53 and a hook. 58% are leaning Iowa State, 63% shaded toward the over. Right now, Iowa State is plus 155 on the money line. They also went just 2-3 straight up in their last 5. Iowa State failed to cover in 4 out of those 5 games as well. They ranked 93rd in passing, 65th in pass yards allowed. Notre Dame on the other side, a little bit different story as they went in the top 15 in scoring, top 30 in yards per play. They are 5-0 straight up in their last 5 contests, and they have marquee wins over the likes of Virginia Tech, USC, and Virginia this year. Ian Book, he's thrown for over 2,700 yards, 33 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. He's also ran it in 4 times this year. Chase Claypool, 891 yards receiving, 12 touchdown catches. This Notre Dame squad ranks in the top 15 in points allowed, top 3 in pass yards allowed. Kyle Hamilton, 4 interceptions on the season, 6 pass breakups. Meanwhile, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and Khalid Kareem, 5.5 sacks apiece for this Notre Dame squad. They are 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 straight, 70% against the spread in their last 10. Notre Dame 60% to the under in their last 5. Iowa State 5-2 to the under in their last 7. I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, slide it down, and take Notre Dame -3 and the under 53.5 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Saturday's college football action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out once again on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium selections on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. And we also have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to on that channel. And if you want to check out my current record, you can do that for free right now. Link for that site is in the description section below, and my current record is right on the homepage. Once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. But without any further ado, we got to go ahead and get into the college football playoff. And we're going to begin with Oklahoma taking on LSU, and that is the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Had ourselves a nice Chick-fil-A nugget tray the other night for Christmas Eve. It only cost $91 for some nuggets. Unbelievable, but They were damn good with the Chick-fil-A sauce. But anyway, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, 1 versus 4, Oklahoma taking on LSU, and that is at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now the Tigers, no real surprise here. They're the 14-point favorite, total at 76. We saw the half-point move toward LSU and movement downward on the total. The Tigers opened 13.5 up to minus 14. Total opened 77.5 down to 76. 52% are leaning LSU, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now the Sooners are plus 450 on the money line. Now Oklahoma, not a great covering team on the year. They can put up points. They got a bunch of wins this year, but they really have struggled against the spread for their backers. And as a matter of fact, they failed to cover the point spread in 5 out of their last 6. They're also just 2-7 against the spread in their last 9. They have failures to cover against the likes of Iowa State, Kansas State, and Kansas. They rank 47th in points allowed on the road. Meanwhile, LSU on the other side, obviously undefeated on the year, 13-0 straight up, 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. They have successful covers over the likes of Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. They rank the top 3 in scoring, top 3 in passing. Obviously, Joe Burrow, he's completing 78% of his passes. He's thrown for over 4,700 yards, 48 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's also run it in 3 times. Jamar Chase, he's at nearly 1,500 yards receiving, 18 touchdown receptions. And Justin Jefferson, he's gone for over 1,200 yards receiving this year, 14 touchdown receptions. This LSU squad, they also rank in the top 3 in yards per play. Of course, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's rushed for nearly 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns. Now he is questionable. Tweaked that hammy during practice. Probably will see him in limited action or not at all. I don't really think you need him. I think the game strategy here is to throw all over this Oklahoma secondary. So don't look for Clyde too much. You may see him on a couple of plays just to stretch out that hammy a little bit, but ultimately, Coach O, I don't think you need to play him at all. But anyway, this LSU defense, they rank in the top 25 in points allowed, top 25 in rush yards allowed. Derek Stingley, 6 interceptions on the year, 15 PBUs. PBU, that's a pass breakup, by the way. And total-wise, LSU 60% to the over in their last 5, 8-5 to the over for the season. I'm going to lean LSU minus 14 and the over 76 in that matchup there. And, of course, I'm going to slide my next and final game for the show. It is going to be Clemson taking on Ohio State. That is your 2019 Fiesta Bowl, and that's going to be played at State Farm Stadium, and that's an 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. The Tigers are the 2.5-point favorite, total at 62 and a hook. We saw a half-point move toward Clemson and movement upward on the total. The Tigers open 2 up to minus 2.5, total open 62 up to 62 and a hook. 53% are leaning Clemson, 60% shaded toward the over. Right now, Ohio State is plus 120 on the money line. Now, Ohio State has successfully covered the point spread 70% of the time in their last 10 games. They went 9-4 against the spread overall for the year. They have successful covers over the likes of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Sparty. They rank in the top 3 in scoring, top 5 in rushing. J.K. Dobbins, he's rushed for over 1,800 yards on the year, 20 touchdowns. He's also got 2 touchdowns receiving. He's averaging 6.5 yards per carry. Justin Fields, this very elusive, very talented quarterback, he's got 10 rushing touchdowns on the ground. He's also thrown for nearly 3,000 yards through the air this year, 40 touchdowns to just 1 interception, and that's good for 50 total touchdowns on the year for Justin Fields, a man amongst boys. Now, this Ohio State team, they rank in the top 10 in yards per play, top 3 in points allowed as well. So they're getting it done on the defensive side of things as well. They rank in the top 3 in pass yards allowed. They gave up 21 points or less in 9 out of their last 10. Chase Young, 16.5 sacks on the year, 6 forced fumbles. And Jeff Okudah, 3 interceptions in that secondary. Ohio State, top 10 in rush yards allowed, top 3 in yards allowed per play. Meanwhile, Clemson on the other side, 43rd in offensive time of possession. They're coming off contests fairly uncontested. Their last 4 games, they played Virginia, solid team, but Virginia, South Carolina, Wake Forest, NC State. I don't know. I don't know if they've been tested enough, but of course that's been the knock against them for the past couple of years, and they've still been able to get the job done. But I don't think they've faced a squad even remotely close to the caliber of Ohio State, so this should be a pretty rude awakening. I would probably expect a pretty slow start out of this Clemson squad. Now, the Tigers are 4-2 to the over in their last 6. Ohio State 4-3 to the over in their last 7. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take Ohio State +3 and the over 62.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. I like Ohio State +3 over 62.5, LSU -14 over 76, Notre Dame -3 under 53.5, and last but certainly not least, I like Penn State -7 in the over 60 total points in that game. All right, let's go ahead and take care of a few shout-outs, once again brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. Got to give a shout-out to J007 from Patreon, Aaron McLemore, Joe Me the Money, Sonny Lanos, Modelo Time Fool, Beamer Ball 4420, Stephen Lewis, Poop Man. Shout out to the Poop Man. Shout out to Shaw N, Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey, I thought you were dead, and you're not. You're alive and well in the comments section. Shout out to the Saint. Shout out to the 62283. Shout out to Dion Hallman, Milagros Tremont, Joe Delator, Rashonda Watkins, Kendall Ellis, and last but certainly not least, shout out to Philly Scorpio. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on Patreon, where we do premium picks on that site, beginning at just $1.99 per month. We also have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. And if you want to check out my current record on Patreon, you can do that for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. Once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I do have to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you on patreon.com/BrockPage.